Have you ever conversed with someone about video games and it kind of chugs along to the point where you start talking about your favorite video games? Have you ever noticed that whenever they talk about it, it's less of like objectivity being like, I like this game because of all these things in the game, but more so like the state you were in when you played it, or how it made you feel when you played it, or what things you did when you were playing it. I've noticed that a lot of times when people talk about video games, they often talk about how it made them feel or how they were feeling while they were playing it rather than the actual objectivity of the game. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, is how video games make you feel certain ways, or how things in your life make you feel certain ways about video games, or any of the sorts of things, man. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a dude making videos online. Let's get started. Boyfriends 3 is one of my favorite first-person shooters, and look, I know that it gets its fair share of backlash and like fucked up things that happen in the game. I mean, it's EA. Not really an EA game if it doesn't have at least one bug in it. But, man, if this was baseball, they would have been up there with the Hall of Fame next to Derek Jeter and baseball, man. Because, man, this campaign is so good. Like, seriously, maybe it was just because I was 11 years old and the only video games that I had played so far in my little life was Minecraft and Rayman Legends, but I didn't think any of this bullshit was possible inside of a game. I mean, for 2011, this shit looks awesome. I'm just saying, it does look pretty good. And on top of that, man, the story, I get it. The story is cliche, you know, it's like, oh, there's a guy in New York with a nuke and he's gonna blow it up? Dude, you gotta stop him. I know that idea and that storyline has been beaten to death with a fucking baseball bat from Derek Jeter, probably. But, oh my goodness, they do it so well. And I know that there are much better games out there that'll do, you know, emotional things better, but for some reason, I don't know if it's just because this is one of the first first-person shooters that I played, or maybe it's just because, I don't know, my brain evolved enough to understand what emotions were, but this just stuck with me for a while, and I'm gonna tell you what it is. So, in the game, your entire point is to tell the US government about the nuke that's gonna happen in New York. And throughout the whole game, you kind of, you know, get into some muddy water, and, spoilers, your entire platoon basically dies, except for one person, which is really important. This guy's name is Dave Montez, and he has been through basically thick and thin with this motherfucker. He helped you get out of Iran during the earthquake that happens in the game. He sticks with you throughout the entirety of basically all your missions, and he's overall just your buddy. You and Montez escaped the interrogation room, and after fighting off a couple of sewer terrorists, I guess, this happens.
He's coming! Go! Who dies first? You'll never win! The guy's winning!
Now, if you haven't played the game before, it's gonna seem like a pretty lackluster death, but to 11-year-old me playing a game similar to this for the first time, my heart was shattered. I have never seen something like that happen before. I think it also helps a lot too that his death wasn't super like monumental, like gameplay wise. It just happened, and then you just gotta sit there and still do this shit. And I think that's part of the reason why it was so effective for me, is because just like I guess how the army is in real life, you don't really get to stop and mourn the death of your best buddy. You just kind of have to let it happen and then move on and do the task, which fucking is really sad. Now, before you get your panties in a bunch, I really like the Far Cry games. I think they do shooting, combat, and most things that you would expect from a video game really, really well. But uh, emotional shit, man, do they what's the word? They suck at it. That's what they do. I think the moment that describes this perfectly is in Far Cry 3, any scene with Jason and his girlfriend. I literally can't even remember her name. That's how unimportant she was. My point is that this game didn't give the proper amount of time or effort really to build a relationship that the player would have to any of the characters really in this game. I would say the closest thing that the not the character that you'd had to any of the characters inside of this game is maybe Grant, because he at least taught you the tutorial, sort of. But when I think about Far Cry 3, I don't think about the lasting bonds I made with fucking any of the characters. Can't name a single one besides Grant. Sorry, and Voss. That's it. Because when it comes down to it, this game isn't about what your, girlfriend is going to think of you killing all these pirates. It's about killing all these pirates. And that's fine, because I fucking love those kinds of games. But if you're gonna build your story around the idea of saving all of your friends, i.e. the people that are closest to you, from something that's bad, then the people in the game that you're saving should actually mean something to not just the character in the game, but you. Because then there's this huge separate from me, the guy playing the game, and then whoever the main character is, which, to be honest, kind of ruins it for a lot of people. So anybody that knows me in real life knows that I love Half-Life. And I'm talking Half-Life 1, any of the Gearbox games, fucking even Black Mesa, the new one. Oh my goodness, everything in between, I fucking love it. And that's why I'm going to be talking about it right now, because I think it has one of the best overarching themes in any video game made recently. I think it does emotional whatever the fuck better than anything New Age recently. And I think one of the greatest examples of this in the entire game is the first mission, point insertion. So after G-Man puts you on the train, you are met with a pretty grim look at what humanity would look like if it were, taken over by a intergalactic species. Everyone's stripped of their belongings and given denim tracksuits to remove all sense of being and all sense of belonging in order for people to feel more distance and apart. This is truly humanity at its lowest. This is absolutely shown at its absolute best at this interaction that we see a few seconds after getting off of the train.
My home.
Were you the only
And
ones
so,
on that train?
whether you are here to stay or passing through on your way to parts unknown, welcome.
Overwatch stopped
to
our
City
train in the woods
17.
and took my husband
It's
for
safer
questioning.
here.
They said he'd be on the next train. I'm not sure when that was. They're being nice, though, letting me wait for him.
That interaction is so incredibly chilling, disturbing, and bleak the more you realize what just happened. Her family is gone. There's nothing left. That was the last she saw of her husband, and she can wait there all she wants, and she's never gonna see him again. It is such a bleak and sad way that humanity is portrayed in this game, and I think a lot of people kind of brush past that when they're describing the game. It's truly awful.
Don't drink the water. They put something in it to make you forget. I don't even remember how I got here.
This is another tactic that the Combine uses in order to keep people from rebelling. They move them around all the time, and they make them drink only one source of water that has some sort of chemical in it that makes them forget or makes their memory very shoddy. This is so terrifying to think of. I would hate it. I feel like a lot of people would. I'm not alone with that. But the idea of living in an existence like that, where you're constantly paranoid and you never know where you are or how you got there, is truly one of the most terrifying things I've ever thought of. And that's why I think that Half-Life 2 is one of the best examples, often overlooked, about how emotion is portrayed in video games. There isn't some big reason why you should care, because the reason is you're a human. And this is humanity that we're talking about. It's not some person, it is humanity. And I think that's why it's so effective for a lot of people, including me, is because there is no person to care about. It's everyone, literally everyone that you have to consider when you are considering this game. Damn. That's a pretty low note to end on. Well, I mean, I guess shouts out to Hannah, that's my sister, for her awesome thumbnail for this video. I'll put a link to her Twitch in the description. You should go follow that and watch her. She's the GOAT. And like if you like the video, and subscribe if you want a kiss on the cheek or the mouth, if you ring that bell. Otherwise, peace. I'll see you later.